na brdo, ako malo stoji. Vidiš malo.
All the sudden, yeah.
Evo vidiš.
Did you met? No. It's from the municipality of Overcast.
T2.
And it's all about Yes, he's from the youth center. I know him also. I met him in a conference in Portugal. Really? So you are like literally guide now with all the I know somebody there already. I have not been there personally, but I know somebody. Yeah, key players. You really know all the from Portugal, she's the director of NIFOB. Ah, okay. So it's
Okay. Can I get a bit of your attention, please? Thank you.
We have here. I will just say 2 words. Okay, as said before lunch, this is my colleague Mitya Chernko, and he will guide you through the next hour and something. And we will need your innovative thinking, we will need your brains, we will need your ideas.
No pressure.
And yeah, no pressure. And for the rest, yeah, you're the expert.
Can you hear me like this? Okay. I'm just gonna put this off for now. First of all, let me just say that I am very honored to be here to be able to support you. The people who are passionate about making the world a better place, who are actually going out and doing something, connecting key people and really making our cities like a better place to live in. And I'm very grateful for that you're doing this, that you're devoting a big part of your life for this. And what we have prepared is a process which is, for some of you maybe it will be very new, but it's based on self-organization. It's based on organized chaos. And it's meant to give all of us a space to think about how can we bring people together. Because we've all seen very good projects. We've all seen like amazing turnovers, incredible collaboration between key agents. And I think one of the core questions in our mind is how? How can I do this in my local environment? Sure, they did it over there, and sure, they did it over there, but how can I do it over here? And this is going to be like the guiding question through the following hour. And we're going to do this in a slightly different way. We're going to do this by using what's called an open space. And there's 3 rules and 1 law. The first rule is that whatever happens is exactly what needs to happen. After the presentation of some guidelines, we will go to the other space and you will see 8 tables. They are numbered like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Simple, right? 1, 2, and then just going up from there. We're going to put numbers on it just to make it clear as well. And on each of those tables, there's going to be a discussion around a certain topic related to this bigger question. And the rules are that whatever happens to that discussion, whatever comes up is what needs to happen. Just allow yourself really to be open, to be vulnerable, to share the crazy ideas, to ask the tough questions. Because you will make the content of what happens. We're just going to hold the space for you. The other rule is that whoever happens is the right person. Maybe you're going to have a discussion, a question. It's going to be like you're going to be, I really, really want that person there. I mean, it's all based on self-organization. You will be free to walk around. You will be free to participate in any discussion you want. So whoever is there is apparently the person who, with his right intention, with his passion, decided to be there. And the last one, when it starts, and when it's over, it's over. Maybe in the beginning, no one will show up, and that's fine. You know, there are other discussions. And maybe what happens is, after 10 minutes, something really, really starts. And if the conversation is really valuable, you don't need to end it there. You can take note of the people who are there and continue the discussion afterwards. So it doesn't need to end here. And the most important law, and this is really important, and that's why it's a law of 2 rules. It's the law of 2 feet. Sometimes it's a bit uncomfortable when you're around the conversation, around the discussion, and people are really active, and what, am I just supposed to stand up and leave? It's rude. Well, in a way, it's not. Even if you're there silent, you're contributing your energy, and if you're not really passionate about it, there's definitely going to be a discussion somewhere else where you could be. So if you don't feel like you're adding any value, or taking any value, just feel free to use your 2 feet and go wherever that needs to happen. Is this clear?
Yes.
Cool. So with that, I would like to invite the mastermind behind some guidelines to present, I think it's 17 guidelines on how can we make this happen. And while you will be listening to these presentations, we have a challenge for you, the first challenge. And in a while, our assistants outside are preparing a certain table. We need one person, at least one person, to be the host of a discussion around one of these principles. There will be 17 principles, and after Marco will present the guidelines, we will sign up hosts. You don't need to be an expert on the topic. You just need to be passionate about it. Okay? And the hosts will be responsible just for being at the table. You'll have an empty flip chart, and your responsibility is just to note down everything that happens, everything that's said. Just make sure all of the discussions get stuck on the paper. And at the end, you will have another challenge just to really shortly, in a minute, present what the groups has created. Is this clear?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Can I also talk without a microphone? So I will present now what we have, let's say, elaborated in the last days and discussed briefly with some of you yesterday evening. These are like what has come out of this project. These guidelines, through these guidelines, we want to promote actually what happened, what we learned in this project, and we would like mayors to assign this let's say commitment to use these guidelines in their cities. So we have categorized them into 3 broad groups. The first one is like dealing with more with preparation, with planning. It's called Looking Ahead, and I will now briefly present all 17 guidelines. So the first one is to start with, is to develop a widely accepted vision of the city. So having a clear picture, I will read a little bit, about the desired future of the city helps in guiding decisions also about public property, which is the topic of our guidelines, of course. And it is of crucial importance that this vision is widely accepted and shared among key stakeholders and residents. So this is the starting point for basically every key decision in the city. The second one is about planning. We call it plan for change. There's more about it. More could be said, but like some changes cannot be predicted, but others can. And those that can be projected, like let's say population projections, those need to be used also in planning the use of public property, of course. So, but there's also special planning behind this. You have to, or the city has to designate its policy towards old buildings. So that has to be included in the planning. Now the third is also very important, of course. Records of public property need to exist, and they need to be regularly maintained. So although this can be a challenge sometimes in some cities when the properties are managed by different departments, by different public companies, nevertheless, having such a reliable record of public property is essential. And these records have to be updated regularly, and they need to be transparent and publicly accessible. So these are like prerequisites for any good activity, or let's say for better or good utilization of public property. The fourth recommendation. Civil society organizations can be supported with also through public property. So municipality could and should actively support civil society organization, because of course civil society is a true treasure of every city. As we have seen from the examples, there are really nice examples, let's say from Oberhausen, what a civil society can do. And it makes good sense to support civil society by offering them places to meet and work in publicly owned buildings. And by doing so, municipality can not only respond to needs, let's say, but can also actively scan for the needs of the community. So have a person or somebody who actually checks what the community needs, what organizations need, and so on. The next guideline: municipalities should use empty property in favor of the vulnerable groups. So the property which is not in use by a municipality, so it's empty, should be first offered to those who need it most. And these are like homeless or migrants, let's say. Now the sixth one is a bit more, we have seen a good example yesterday. Cultural heritage is an advantage, not an obstacle. In new investments, often like heritage is considered like a problem, like we need to excavate and that will delay and whatever. But we have seen in Pekarna yesterday that when you renovate physically, you can make a perfect renovation of a building. Everything functions, but it loses its soul. And these groups that are actually in possible users, civil society organizations, cherish the heritage, and these are exceptional. These are often exceptional buildings, and these exceptional buildings also offer opportunities for exceptional contents and experiments. So this heritage could and should be used as an advantage. The seventh guideline: temporary use. So when empty spaces are waiting for like for some development that may happen or may never happen, they can be in temporary use to be, let's say, useful. And this is beneficial for users who get the space to work or do something. This is beneficial for owners, so for municipalities in this case, because it reduces maintenance costs. And it's also beneficial for wider neighborhoods because users are best keepers of the surrounding areas. And the eighth one, I think it's the last one in this category. Maybe sometimes it's really difficult for municipalities that have little funding available not to sell the unused property. But it is important to think of other possible uses of property in a widest possible, with let's say, a wider picture in mind. While this selling can bring, of course, short-term gains in the budget, sometimes in the longer term, it really turns out that not selling some empty spaces, but putting them into use for, let's say, civil society or citizens, in the long term reduces social costs as well as economic costs, and even can bring economic gains. So the next category, taking care of the process. So it's about the process. Throughout the whole project, we have emphasized that involvement of citizens is crucial in decisions about empty spaces, and this is something that needs special attention. And municipalities could develop consultation procedures concerning, let's say, the desired use of empty property. And this goes in particular in relation to larger empty complexes, which are difficult to imagine how to use. The 10th guideline. Municipality can actively search for potential users, for temporary use or for permanent use, in fact. While there are benefits that I mentioned before, it is not always easy to find users, actually. So municipalities sometimes really need to do something more than is their usual, let's say, work in order to recognize potential users, to find the proper users for proper buildings and so on. And like self-organized initiatives should be, let's say, recognized. And the role of some, let's say, intermediary actors is important in this also. Then the 11th criteria. When demand is ample in, let's say, places like Belgrade, where there's not so many or a lot of empty buildings, but also a lot of potential users, the municipality should establish clear criteria and transparent procedures for the selection of users. So it should be clear why somebody got some space to use and the other ones not. And the civil society can also be involved in the formulation of the criteria, not only follow the procedures. 12, large empty complexes. It's difficult to inhabit them, it's difficult to sell them, it's difficult to find investors, whatever, but it's also difficult to find users. And they can be put actually in use step by step. Because when first users come, they also attract other users that can come later. The last guideline in this category, the municipality can also take over the role of the intermediary between the private owners and the potential users. Because often lack of trust between the owners and the potential users is the main inhibiting factor not to put some building in use. And municipality can play a role of intermediary here because it is easier for private owners to trust the municipality than somebody who they don't really know. So municipality can broker between the owners and the users. So in the last category, just 4 more guidelines. It's about management, governance, also maintenance. When there are in larger buildings, there are always several users, user groups even, and organizations that share the same building. And it's important that they establish good working relations, even synergies. And this networking between them is not self-evident. And if there is a possibility to support this networking, it's good that it's done in some way. Then on this basis also some permanent platform can be established, and in the most, let's say, complex cases, also a representative body of users. Pekarna is one such case. We have heard yesterday how they try to manage this and how the municipality supports this. Then the 15th guideline. There are lots of, let's say, social innovations developed by civil society organizations. Again, we can name here Oberhausen, let's say. And when this can directly contribute also to renovation and revitalization of public property, raise its value somehow in both social and economic way, but it also enriches local communities. So this potential of civil society organizations for social innovations is to be explored in full. And the last 2. The next one, the 16th, is connected to the previous one, but it also relates to the management of public property. So when there is, let's say, many municipalities, there's little funding for whatever left, and in such cases there's actually more room for experiments sometimes, and civil society organizations are the ones that usually can develop innovative approaches to public property management. We can take the example of, let's say, here. And the last one, the municipality can also be, let's say, intermediary between the national and the regional level of public authorities, which often own big complexes in cities and are not really trying to put them in use for various reasons, because they are actually detached from the citizens. And while municipalities have contacts with the citizens, they can broker or, let's say, stimulate the use of these buildings which are in ownership of the state. That's it. Now back to Mitya.
If your brain is anything like mine, this was quite a lot to take in. And thank you for the holistic guidelines. But don't limit yourselves to these 17 guidelines. If during this conversations, during this discussion, anything comes up that you're like, you couldn't really fit this principle I have in mind anywhere, just write it down somewhere and you can share it afterwards. Okay? And now comes the big moment of trust. Do we have in this group 17 people that feel passionate, that feel drawn to being the host for the 17 conversations? We need to be efficient, so I would invite people who feel drawn to host the conversation. What that means that you're doing is just standing at the table, not leaving anywhere else, and taking notes of whatever people say. That's it. Sounds simple, right? It is. So I would like to invite 8 people who would like to sign up for the different discussions. There we go! We have yes.
So
we need just
17 people.
Of course.
No.
Not for now. At this time, just 8.
Yeah.
For this one.
Whichever, actually.
Okay.
I'll start. I'm passionate.
Let's go.
I'm passionate about all.
Let's go. Time is precious. Time is precious. You just stand next to it and write down what people say. It's very simple. It's very simple. Okay. There we go. Good job.
This is planning, yes. It's okay.
It could be, yes.
Record keeping is
So another one? Amazing. Here you go. Yes, do you have a question?
Yeah, I know it's a suggestion. It's a suggestion. No. I recommend to you to count the number of the people. No, really. And then I suggest to shrink the groups.
it's just like he
You
knows
will
what
see.
he's doing.
You will see. It will not be for groups. You will not get divided into groups.
No.
You don't need to be divided into groups. We just need one person who's passionate about planning for change. How can we make sure that we plan that the change happens, that what we create, the vision, that it will change? Do we have a person who would be willing to just stand next to the flip chart and rest on that? I see that you're maybe.
No, I have the different.
Okay, you can stand up. You can stand up then.
But it's on other flip chart.
Then you will also be invited to that.
Everything is against you, man.
Would you mind if I randomly pick people?
Random,
Come on, David.
random.
Okay, you just stand next to there and sit. Would you be willing to host the conversation for
I
planning for
do
change?
that constantly, and therefore I don't want to do it really serious.
Any other principal maybe? Okay. Anyone else?
Yes.
Yes, here we go. Here we go. This will be what we make
It's
it.
easy.
5.
Okay. You can tell me your name and
Petra.
Petra. Great. Okay. We need just 3 more people, 3 more heroes to sign up. What's left?
Yeah, if you return it a bit, then
Thanks.
Did you read it?
Planning.
Planning for change.
6?
6?
No,
No,
what's
no.
6?
6 is cultural heritage is an advantage.
And 8?
And 8 is restraint from selling unused property.
I can.
Okay.
Another.
me too.
Okay?
Pizza.
Huh?
We'll do it
Two
together.
sheets are for 2.
No.
Eight.
8.
No.
No.
No,
No, we need another.
We need one for cultural heritage.
Too late.
Cultural heritage is no one here passionate about culture, about
Sanya.
history.
Aye.
Sanya, aye, there we go. 6th, right? Sanya. And we need one more.
Okay, put me in, Jonas.
Jonas. Wonderful. Wonderful. Let's give us a big round of applause. We made it. I know it's a big shift from static conferences to more active conferences, but now I would like to invite all of you to stand up. And let's make our way to the other room, and here we can start the discussion.
No, my problem is that I'm really
You don't speak, you just run.
you know, this is a problem.
I like to speak.
No, I can't keep records. I'm really bad sometimes. Noting, making minutes and like making this essential. It's really difficult.
You are free to explore the discussion. You're free to explore the discussion. Just think about how can we make that happen? How can we ensure we develop a widely shared city? Okay? And for the next 10 minutes, you can explore whatever discussion you feel you want to contribute to. Okay? So wherever you want to contribute, wherever you want to listen in, you can contribute. And you're free to go wherever you want. Okay? Yeah. Second one is how to broker between owners and potential users. How to ensure trust. How to make sure no one gets burned. Everyone gets burned out. The fifth principle. Here you go. Okay, so owners, be sure to take your flip chart to the right numbers. Okay? And the previous owners, make sure your flip charts are somewhere safe and you don't lose them.
Kako vi stojite s tehnologijom i to?
Ja, što da pomožem?
Ja imam problem to mi je kao službeni poslovni projekt. Neće mi poslati par minova. Da. I to kad sam Da. I sad mi je javio da treba nešto ovo je ti nešto krivo, sam možda nešto to je ulazno, taj u redu, ja primam mailove normalno, ja sam sad opet primao, ne, dobro, ovaj prvo što izlazi, ja ne mogu stati van, ja dobijam mail, ja sam sad dobio mail od znači jedino ovo, jedino da ga pitam tu šifru, i sad tražim neke ajmo reći sad dalje, Pa mogu ja mailom slati poruke, ali imam nešto Excel tablicu, nešto sam im morao poslati unutra i sve. Možda je taj opet isto javlja, da. Jedino ako je password.
How can we make space? How can we leave room for innovation and new models of public property management? So how can we give up a bit of control from legislative?
Ništa, hvala.
How can we create?
Nisam bila baš u pomoć.
A dobro, probali ste.
Would be willing to hold the conversation? You don't even have that. We're looking for one person. Okay, and the last one. The last one. Stimulate the use of public property and the ownership of the state. So tapping into all of this property that's sitting there, that's being owned by the government. How can we
have like plenty of material now.
Yes,
I guess.
but I have, yeah.
Okay, that was very short, very intense. I hope the conversations that you participated in provided some value. And now for those that you didn't participate in, I would like to invite the owners of the conversations to briefly recap what happened over there. And you can, of course, ask the other members who participated to explore the findings a bit further. Okay? If you want, if you feel comfortable, you can stay in your seat as well. Just make sure to speak loud enough so people can hear. But the stage is yours as well, wherever you feel more comfortable. Yes.
Yeah. Find the proper one.
And this is also the point that if any additional ideas pop up, just feel free to express them and we can take them down as well. Yes. I can help.
Okay. So, develop widely accepted vision. How to do it? It's important to involve more people in the participative process or in the processes in general.
Sorry, Marco.
Sorry, I didn't say. And one idea was to go on tour. So to go to the terrain and have conversations in public spaces through food, like Kiter does. The other idea was to make small steps visible in this, let's say, vision. Not that it doesn't, because the vision is too far. Sometimes people just don't really get interested in the vision. So it has to have these steps that become visible slowly somehow. Then it's important, it was stressed that it's important to have different actors together at the same time, so that different views can oppose or can be brought together. Another, let's say, alternative idea was the space of indecision, so that there is enough space left for decision adjustment, so that decisions can be also adjusted to some extent. The one idea was also to bridge the gap between bottom-up and top-down approaches, so that the bottom-up feels the need for top-down support and the other way around.
Any other ideas that you would add? I can hold it this way. Any ideas we would add to this point? Yes.
I have a very simple method we practice. We ask people what they would like.
In what way? I mean, virtual surveys or?
Survey? No. Is it what kind of vision? For what?
Yeah.
For the town,
For the city,
example.
yes.
Yes. We ask them what would you like your town to be like, and they
Okay.
tell us. They just ask people.
Okay. Marco, could I ask you to add this to your list? Okay.
And how did you select the people who you asked?
In open spaces, photos, but ask, or you do a competition,
Okay.
asking schools
Random people. But everybody can bring his ideas. Sometimes they're very simple and just in the neighborhood. But yes, yes, you can derive a vision from this. Because what's a vision is very abstract. You ask more concrete, you get some answers.
You haven't met? She's our colleague. We worked on a project with the parents.
So the idea was to actually go out there and engage people with the question.
Yes, with the concrete question.
Yeah.
They personally would
Okay.
like it, not a vision for...
It's a wonderful idea. Any other suggestions? Okay. Then I would like to invite the second discussion.
Okay. So very much with the help of my colleague, we were trying to understand what actually means planning for change. And in this respect, we have been very much concentrating, I need to say that before, on objects. Yeah, it's not about policy changing, it's about objects. First of all, as a basic principle, all stakeholders have to be involved, not to have like a singular top-down approach. Second, somewhere else probably in the group before, number one, a vision is created. So we actually need to know like what do we have there and what do we want to change. This is important.
What's the nature of the vision? What would be some sort of precise idea?
Nature of vision is very good. So then the subject should be the vision, so should be as close as possible. That means like precise. To be really as precise as possible, otherwise it is in danger to be not realized. Second, the object has to be understood. So its former usage, its current form and layout, its texture, its urban context, and also the infrastructure which is available, which has to be added and so on in order to really understand what is the object about. Both subjects together actually make this whatever we have and how do we want to change. So we have actually like kind of a package, and now we actually have to see how to really like bring in these ideas to life. So the idea realization. And number 4, which I find actually very important, could be probably in the beginning, to be sure about the tools. And in this respect, tools don't mean only the hammer, I don't know, or the paint, and like Kitev, but or like also Dieter and Skola Seshi, but it means also where to get the money from. I mean, also money is a tool. Yeah, that was our work.
Okay. I would just like to ask you if there are any additional ideas you would like to add to this point, how to plan for change. How to plan that the objects we create can change, if I understood correctly, and how can we plan, like how the plan itself can be left to adapt. Yes?
With the first, before the planning, you should start with analyzing what exists. So
okay, but we have it. It's just like, yes.
That's related to the vision.
Understanding the object.
Okay.
Sorry, just another word.
Okay, but maybe...
Thank you. It is important.
Yeah.
Any additional ideas on this point? Okay. With that, I would like to invite the third discussion owner.
Where to put it?
I would like to ask you, so you keep it with you for now, yes? And in the end we will take pictures of all of it.
The visit of my list was very modest. So, how to regularly maintain records of public property. First of all, these records should be online, publicly available, and Martin said it should be more, not just a list, but a bit more complex tool, or not user-friendly, but with more characteristics.
Could we say maybe a map?
Yeah, it's GIS.
Yeah, maybe a map, and you click on it, and it shows all the characteristics of a building. Maybe GIS, yes.
GIS.
Okay.
Then someone said, I don't know who, that we should only also record the possible activities that could be happening there. So if it was before a shop, it doesn't only mean that it should be a shop, continue to be a shop. Maybe it can be, I don't know, a hairdresser or an office or whatever. The third is that we should have different methods for different sizes of municipalities. Maybe the method we would use, it's not appropriate for the municipality of Maribor, for example. And Dita gave a great idea that we should identify neighbors of public premises and to make a contract or agree with them to keep us posted of what's going on with them there. Yeah. So that's
interesting
it.
idea.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Okay, thank you. Are there any additional ways, ideas, that we could ensure that we have an overview of public property? If there are any additional ideas you would like to add to this list, how we can ensure public property?
I think that maybe it's written, but I don't see. The way they did it in SAYS is so that you categorize the property into different, let's say, how
Stage.
Yeah,
Physical.
yeah, it can be used immediately. It should be repaired.
Okay.
It's, let's say, possible
Do we
to
add this?
repair, and so on. So this is, I think,
Physical condition.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's very
that's it.
valuable
Yeah.
information.
Yeah.
Huh?
I mean, it was a very valuable outcome, the discussion with consensus. It was really, really good.
Okay. Any additional ideas, inputs, suggestions? Okay. Then with this, I would like to invite the fourth discussion over. This is yours?
This is mine. Not mine.
Okay.
Yeah, voilà.
This actively supports civic society organizations, and I would like to start with this one. The first thing would be listen and take for serious if an organization comes to municipality, and then all the other things. And from listen and constant communication and keep the door open in all the process. I think this is the main thing, and because of course sometimes there is the feeling that some organizations might be a menace, but nevertheless listen and take for serious. Then of course very helpful is the financial support, but well, this is a vision probably. Space for free is sometimes easier to give. Sharing of know-how of the municipality, as in the municipalities we have specialists for everything almost. And support with bureaucracy, we have specialists of this anyway. Intermediation to other or similar organizations, so do some networking for the civic organizations, organize meetings with others. These were the points we had in the very short time.
Wonderful.
Anything
Thank you.
else?
I would just like to echo your question again. Any thoughts? Any ideas? Any suggestions? How can we better support? How can we actively support civic society organizations?
I mean, I know it's sometimes illusion to call it like this, but actually in Riga it starts to happen really. Quite strange in such an Eastern European bureaucratic state, but in Riga we start to have the NGOs which are actively working in this, specifically in this case Riga, to be involved actually in consultation on the municipal level. That means they get like kind of a consultant for the relevant departments, and they even are taking in consideration probably in the future, let's see, as for the commissions. That's not yet, but that could happen as well.
If I understand correctly, NGO members, leaders, consult the municipality.
The administration.
Okay.
The city administration.
Okay.
I know a very good example also from Portugal, from the Algarve region. There is, they have made like a vision, made up a vision, co-created a vision for youth and participation in this region. And now it's also the same situation that the municipality recognize that their real experts are somewhere, their target group as well, So they really do co-management now of all the topics, and they have their fixed consultants that really come and to the decision-making processes. And a lot of money is somehow shared directly between the civil society organizations that work on the topic and the municipality.
So, if I understand correctly, it's a similar idea, NGO consultants and...
Yes, co-management of the topic-related issues.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you.
But is this a legal subject?
It's a legal form, co-management. They establish. If you want, I can send you more info on that.
Okay.
Okay, there was another idea, I think, over here.
It's in the same
Related.
direction. Always keep the common interest in mind. So even if the methods and the way is different, but you have the same aim probably.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Any other ideas? Okay, if not, I would like to invite the fifth discussion to present. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so this topic was how to use empty property for vulnerable groups. So the main part of the discussion was about how to formally regulate this. So there should be rules and procedures. But the question was not, so it was not to restrain the people using space, but the people giving the space to these groups. So what are the rules, who gets this, and why, what are the conditions of the use? Then it was also said that municipalities actually want to do this, to give this empty property, but there are formal or legal restraints. So how to do this? The national legislation should be improved in this way. Local NGOs who are actually working already with these vulnerable groups should be asked about this and included in the process of giving out. Also, local government can use the spaces for their own social programs. There was also this remark that when you're renovating empty property, that the rules for accessibility should be taken into account, so people in wheelchairs can access them, and I don't know, blind people, and that there should also be materials in minority languages. That was also one remark. I think that's it.
Thank you. Yeah. Any additional input on how we can make such spaces more accessible for vulnerable groups?
I have just been last week to a conference in Vienna about ideas on integration, and this was hosted by Ashoka, the big social business entrepreneurs association of the world. And they got awarded. They got an award to a project that is actually in Graz, that is about social business that is intermediating, like a broker, between properties that are without use, so they have to be renovated somehow, and refugees and other migrant groups that have really troubles in finding a place to stay. Because you can imagine from one day to another they get their papers, they say, okay, now you're legal, you have to move out from your first place where you've been, and they have really like a deadline to find a flat. But usually if they're on the normal market, they cannot find a flat because they don't speak the language, and people have a lot of prejudices and stereotypes in their mind. So this kind of social business that is called DAGECO, it's a short name, DAGECO, they are the ones that are really like the intermediates. They have a lot of contacts to to the property owners, and on the other hand, they communicate with Caritas, with all big associations that deal with refugees, and they do the matching. And it's not just that they do the matching, but they also help them in getting the papers. It's like a more social focal point for them in not just making the profit, but also giving this sustainable, not just maintenance to the house, but also to the a social climate.
So the core idea, if I understand correctly, it's that social businesses intermediate
Between the
vulnerable
owners
groups, yes,
and the ones that are vulnerable groups. Yes.
Wonderful.
And
Thank you.
It's possible, I think, in every city
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
where we have.
It's a valuable idea. Any other inputs, ideas, suggestions? Okay. If not, I would like to invite the next one, the sixth.
Okay. Not so nice.
It's about the content.
Yeah, it's like cultural heritage is an advantage, not an obstacle. It's like first was that it's connecting past with present. Then these two are connected. Like by using it, you build the identity and give the perceptual value of the space and surroundings, and then there is another thing which is possible financing the project is that they have a special funding program, so we could apply and then make it possible. And then also the couple of other things is that we should allow some small changes to fit contemporary needs. So it means that it keep the value which cultural heritage is, but allows some changes that to loosen the rules.
Yeah, just to loosen the rules, but like not just to lose the spirit of the building, but to do some changing, some technical improvement that makes contemporary life function possible. And then it's that it should be the multifunctional use, and also to solutions for sustainable maintenance. So these changes will make it possible. So this is not more.
Thank you.
Yeah, there is.
Okay. Any additional inputs? How can we preserve cultural heritage without wiping it away?
I mean, as a very negative experience out of 20 years working with cultural heritage and state protection institutions, I need to be honest and say that most of the countries in Europe, specifically Northern Europe, are not willing at all yet to open up transparently. This is a big, big, big problem. So the institutions which are actually responsible for valuing do not yet really open in a way that any kind of inhabitant or investor or interested person actually can communicate in a free way with these institutions. They are completely closing themselves up. They are probably the most hidden institutions in some countries of all urban development. In this respect, I would like to say we need to create a really top-down awareness of these people, of these decision makers. They need to be forced to really communicate with people. And I mean it as I say, force.
So
these
that's
institutions, I'm sorry, clear language, they suck.
Okay.
Amazing.
So to try to capture your idea, is it enforcing transparency with key decision makers on what exactly?
Yeah.
On
valuing,
protecting the cultural heritage.
Protectors.
Protectors, yeah, protectors.
All those organizations is, in my opinion, completely false. They decided from now or from yesterday, everything has to look the same and stay the same forever. And then you have I don't know, a church that was built in this 2,000 years ago or 1,000 years ago, whatever. And then it was 3 or 4 times during the history, every 3 or 2 or 300 years, it was rebuilt. It was partially demolished and rebuilt in another style and stuff like that. That's okay. It was okay to rebuild it in another way 200 years ago. Today, we are not allowed to do that anymore. It's like a completely idiotic way of
I would just like to invite you, if this is the same as loosening the rules.
No, the balancing.
Rules it's not about losing the rules, it's like starting to use your brain.
No, it means maybe question the rules that have been there always. Question the rules.
I think opening up is a good way, but I don't have this bad experience with these institutions, so I think they know they have to do it from at least from yeah, in Slovenia I know they I mean it's also good to have these institutions.
Okay.
If you would
with this in mind, I see this is a very juicy debate. I see this is a very juicy debate, and because we are in a lack of time, I would like to invite you to find a space, because you will have time and space later to discuss this further. But I would like to invite the next speaker, which is 7th, to come here and give the presentation. And also, we have a challenge to try to speed things up. Yes.
The topic. Hello. The topic was how to embrace temporary use. And so by temporary use, we mean short-term lease or sometimes unusual lease terms. For example, in Muzil, example from Pula, there is the whole peninsula, so there has to be something, there has to be some innovative ways to lease it. So first, what kind of structures are we talking about? If they are small, if structures need small interventions, it is relatively easy to do. If they need big interventions, big reconstruction or so, it is sometimes difficult. Safety is a sometimes big challenge. So if it is necessary to make them available, so electricity, water, and nothing more is needed, sometimes even those two aren't necessary. So needs, in the discussion it was pointed out that the needs of the society of CSOs, they are important, but it is also a possibility that with temporary use, those spaces serve as incubators for ideas. We can try it. If it fails, we try something else. So it goes a fast cycling. And fast change. So this goes to fast changes. Spaces are better if they are multifunctional or they are flexible to exchange different programs. And we spoke about business model. So if an empty space is being used by several occupants for a shorter time, then it raises value a little bit because it's people have it in their mind. So we didn't develop it further, but I'm happy to hear. I would like to hear what are your opinions.
Let's focus on thank you. Let's focus on concise ideas, because we're in a bit of time pressure, but I think there was a...
Okay, this is not finished. No, the business model, I just commented that we are developing this, so it's not finished yet. But anyway, could be financed different ways, so it could be finance starting point, maybe from some projects, and then you could have donations, you could have crowdfunding, so for
different ways of
gathering
different
ways,
funds,
but temporary use itself, it's more or less what was here.
Okay. Any other ideas you would like to add? Okay, if not, let's move on to the final part over here, and I think it was over there. Yes.
Refrain from selling public property. So, I mean, we started from some preconditions that are needed for any of these things. So it is map publicly owned property in a clear way and transparently, categorize it by different types, sizes, conditions, usage possibilities.
That's mine. No,
yeah, but we are. This is like advanced,
introduction. Okay.
Yeah, and. Map potential users and needs. So here we have this, the dialogue has been opened. We see what we have, we see what we need. So we open a public dialogue about possibilities and potentials. And the tool that we are proposing is to make decisions makers declare what property is not needed. So in a way, but they have to do it when they see the needs. So we are not completely against selling, but you can sell what the city doesn't need. So basically that would be when when the needs are covered. And also it should take into specific the certain objects. So if you have a need for, I don't know, culture, and this object is not working in this field, then okay, you can sell it. But and this has been done differently. In Serbia, there is this master plan for army buildings. So what they did is they did exactly the same way they needed it to fulfill their own idea when they understand what they are doing. So it's a positive example, but it should be just done in an opposite way. So just to open a discussion. And also to add, we are now leaving, and thank you everyone for everything. And hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Okay.
It's a good closure.
Yeah. Any other snippets, ideas you would add to this part? Okay. Then if not, we can wish our friends from Serbia farewell.
Bye. Safe trip.
And the final 9, so let's speed it up a bit. Let's be very concise with our presentations, and I would like to invite Marko for this one.
You'll see me again. So it was a discussion about how to support citizen participation, so how to involve citizens in decision making. And there was, of course, a proposal to have open discussions in public space, on social media, on workshops, that we need to make sure that all social groups are involved. So, but how to do that is first, you have to know the social groups. You have to know who is using the space, what are the needs. You have to know the history of the place a little bit. You have to know about the perception of the place. So that's you have to have the analysis first, somehow, as we mentioned before. Then to be sure that the invitation to participate is actually taken seriously. And that means that the public has to trust that the results will be actually used. And that's not easy, because that has a history. And then there was this proposal, which is somehow self-evident, but it's not used enough, that participatory budgeting can be used as a tool to support citizen participation, which is a really like making things visible then, and this builds trust also. Then you proposed to use also PR methods and tools somehow to explain
the public opinion,
to
make it the message is basically this is our city.
Yeah.
And using PR to kind of enforce this message.
Then another proposal was to use open competitions in which, like architecture competitions, something like that, or
let's just focus on concrete solutions.
On which the public can decide. So this is also a method to citizen participation, and to include also active citizenships methods like collaborative learning also in the education system. So that the citizen participation can, let's say, develop from schools, school on. That's it.
Thank you. Okay. At this point, I would like to invite people, if you have ideas you want to share, to just note them down somewhere with you, and we can add them later because we're in a bit of time pressure. So if there are any ideas, be sure to note them down.
I would just like to brag a little. We have participatory budget in Maribor.
That's true.
And I don't know.
Me too.
Okay. Thank you.
No.
So this is the...
Yeah, Irene left already, so I was in this group. And it was about actively search for potential users for temporary use of its premises. And yeah, it's...
the core, the overview.
Yeah, so one way would be open call, online, or using also media. But if we want to make it more actively, then we could organize public meetings local community representatives, different NGOs and other networks. Also go to university schools, organizations that work with vulnerable groups, organize some one-day events in these temporary, in these empty spaces, which could be organized by artists, and so on, so on. And we decided that the most important, because in some of the cities we know that it's not so easy to find these active users, so it's very would be helpful to bring representatives from other places, from other towns or countries, to inspire local people to
change best practices.
Really to come and start to do something.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any idea on how to encourage the temporary usage and attract more active users? Note them down. We have the final one, and the next one.
Well,
let's try to
establish clear criteria for selection of users. As you can see, the first points are a bit shady, especially whoever offers most. So it's not only about the cash. So the second is who is willing to engage himself, program and planned results. How can you evaluate which candidate has the best program or list of activities? Then the mapping of needs, mapping of spaces, so you can put it together. Open public debate about criteria, tailor-made criteria for every space, and independent commission, including the persons from also municipality or space owners, and also including those who want to get those spaces. So that's basically it.
Thank you. Okay. This one?
Yeah.
Step-by-step use of large complexes. It is, I will skip three. One solution is to balkanize, so to distribute, to separate large complexes in small parts with diverse users. One is to develop the main idea with concrete end goal, with a concrete timeline and spatial arrangement, and ask Kaspers because he has good experience in this.
Nice.
So that is to speed up. That is all. Thank you.
Okay, fifth one. And you can get the pictures of the flip charts, so you can go in deeper.
Okay, so our topic was how to be a broker, an intermediate between the owners and the potential users. The first contribution was that the broker should, if possible, not be the municipality, because this could cause corruption scenarios if there are not clear criteria established on who will get the properties. The broker should create also a spirit of trust, should be a person that is able of maybe peaceful communication strategies, should also have this info function, so should for both sides be a trustful partner and receive the real intentions, and then create this kind of trust. And what would help in the first stage, if you start being a broker, for example, is to show to both parties best practice examples that already exist in Europe or in the world. So it's maybe impossible to avoid corruption sometimes, but still we believe in the positive attitude of people. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. And for the final four, we have first one. Yes.
How to network NGOs and CSOs together, those who use public property. The basics is to have mailing list. It is important to network with low thresholds, so with cafes, events, food, open days, and maybe a responsible person from municipality helps
so that each of them has one common person to speak to and do common projects.
You have
Sometimes.
to firstly employ someone responsible in this. Oh, no, I'm not sorry.
Also, it helps to have a common purpose, I mean, common enemy. Thank you.
I always come after you.
Yeah.
So this topic was about exploring the potential of social innovation coming from the side of CSOs. What can be done in this sector is to establish interdisciplinary workshops or projects that would involve all the different fields so that they can be a fruitful help for each other to make these projects reality or the idea. They promote the thinking out of the box, not just always stuck to what has it been like in the past, but social innovation means that something new can happen, and this can be supported. Also, people have been, or it would be good to offer people entrepreneurial trainings or access to this sector in order not to stay just with a dream, but to make it happen and also monetize their ideas. So again, it comes to interdisciplinary working groups. There is maybe actually a problem in measuring the value of social innovation, but there are ways, for example, in social network analysis that can map this value and also show it to possible investors. Yes, we have to give the people a floor and visibility, because often it is happening in the civil society sector that a lot of things are going on, but there is no format or floor that would make it possible to share what is going on, to make them visible. And the change of mindset is a very important factor in all this discussion. So to build the bridge from disinterest to curiosity and to feel part of the society. So that's the point.
Wonderful. I think Marco on stage again.
Yep. The star of the show. Yep. For the last. So it was also about innovation, but like leave room for innovation and new management models for property. So the first proposal was to allow municipalities to invest small amounts of money in private property. This would be like twisting regulations a little bit to allow for this. Then another proposal was to have a bit more flexible legal framework so that there would be more room for experiments. The proposal was also to have like these alternative forms of economy, like time sharing and skills sharing, as tools to help with these new management models. Another form of fluid democracy. You can explain a little bit, maybe. Then it was also stressed that different forms of ownership rights could be broken down, so that we could actually experiment with like who has which rights in relation to property.
Thank you.
Okay.
And the final one.
So yes, simply study states, but it was about stimulate the use of public property and the ownership of the state. This is a list which doesn't have any kind of order, so I just... so we need small openness. Temporary usage was very much like supported by several of the participants. Analysis of usage in similar cases, simply like really demonstrate something is possible in other places. Short-term contracts in order to really stimulate the state to get out of its threshold, like to be a little bit more like open-minded, not to immediately block you with 5-year contracts. For sure, very often done, but sometimes really a very good instrument, transfer ownership to municipality, or even in rare cases, really already to a civic actor, who knows. Very supportive, Sonia, the three-party contract in order to really bring the city in as a broker here, being also a state institution, therefore building trust, create legal trust between the state property and the user. Co-working, co-housing as a model of, especially for state property, in order to also like a little bit develop this idea and further develop the idea of also like eco-friendly and human scale and so on. And the last one, to actually build up a NIFOB project for state actors, because I don't think that we have that yet, where we could also implement the cultural heritage players, for example. Thank you. That's it.
Wow.
Thank you for all of this valuable insights, inputs. We will take pictures and share the outcomes eventually, but now we have a closing presentation.
Hello, let's speak about how to continue. The way forward is straightforward. There are only 4 topics to say. In the next 6 months, we will make a compendium of good practices. Thank you, partners, for participating and for giving your, let's say, knowledge.
Yeah, really.
So this will be the compendium of good practice to learn from each other, and so that also other towns can learn from this project. There will be a photo competition of revitalization of empty spaces. Imagine before and after. Why? To visualize challenges and solutions for small and medium-sized cities, towns. And this will be done through Instagram, Facebook, email, and even Pinterest. This will be in the beginning of 2017. Sorry?
No. Sorry, why not Twitter?
Twitter. Thank you. NIFOB guidelines. This workshop, thank you, Mitya, for coordinating it. I think it was very valuable. Marco's guidelines. Marco's guidelines were now thought over and expanded or shrank or changed. So those guidelines will be, let's say, distilled in future, let's say, 2 months, and they will be a part of the, let's say, of the compendium. And why do we need this? We need this for municipalities, for CESIs, for Aidovščina, for other municipalities, to have some common ground on common understanding what works and what it doesn't. And this leads us towards the signing of memorandum. This is a way onto expanding the network. So those municipalities who weren't here in this, on these events, they don't know much about this process, but we can encourage them to participate, to learn from it, and to exchange, to support this method. So please let your town become NIFOB, a part of NIFOB network. Thank you very much.
Because everybody is not using the microphone, so I will not use it also. Thank you everybody for joining us today and actively participating now in this open space outside. I would just like to maybe invite Anna for a sentence or two, because you were the one who were leading the whole project, and
yes. Is it working? Okay. Yes, but Martina was sorry. Leave it. But Martina was leading the event. So maybe Martina should say something.
That's a nice one.
You did the same.
Thank you for being here. Okay. I must admit, I'm tired. So sorry, maybe not to be entertaining so anymore, but on Tuesday, I, together with Mitya, perfect job, Mitya, we finished one other project about youth unemployment in the city. It was quite good, emotional, so this was Tuesday. And then Wednesday, it was the 30th of November, and I had to collect all the bills, because if they wouldn't be in the house on the 30th of November, we could not pay this year. And and then you came on Wednesday night, and Christoph was sick, and I was shrinking Jonas all the time for medias. So I'm sorry. I just want to say it was really great to have you here. I hope you all understood our bureaucracy rules during these 2 days. I hope you enjoyed Maribor as much as we do in our everyday life. I hope you felt that we really love this city with all the ups and downs of the city. And that's mainly it.
Okay, I can say 2 words as well.
So, no more big words. Just let's have great last hours in Maribor, last hours on this project. We have some tips in the afternoon. We hope you join us. And I really hope to see some of you in Maribor again. So that's my lead.
Okay. Okay, because it's a final conference, I think I have to say a few words. Thank you to all 9 partners. Thank you EPOP, especially EPOP, because they put great effort in the project application and in the content during the NIFOB project implementation, especially Urban. Thank you all the 9 partners for participation, for active participation, for bringing more people to events that it was written in our agreements. And I hope that we reached results that were beneficial and relevant for all of us. And that's my biggest hope is that we will continue to meet, continue to work together, and continue to have fun together. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And for the end, some of the logistics, we are finished here now. So we meet each other in about 5 minutes outside of the hotel. So partners in front of the hotel, and then we continue our
Sorry, I still have to do 2 interviews. Is it possible that we do it here? Or?
I think we can wait.
Yeah.
For an additional 5 minutes.
Yes,
Yeah.
that I don't see that as a problem.
Can I just see, please raise your hand, who still has the afternoon for Maribor? And 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Borovo?